So men's mental health. I'm hoping to take the opportunity to have a quick look at men's mental health, our mental health, demystify it, and hopefully destigmatise mental health. So what is it? What is mental health? So people talk about mental health quite a bit, and they'll say, I've got mental health. I can't come out, my brother's at home, he's got mental health. Or I can't come out tonight, I've got mental health. And it's nearly always spoken about in a really derogatory manner, in a manner that says, like, this is a really bad thing. But the reality is this: we all have mental health. We may have good mental health, we feel quite happy, chilled, relaxed, and we've got bad mental health. Alright? And there's always that little bit in between. Mental health really should be thought about in the same way as our physical health. Okay? So this glorious body that I own here, funnily enough, is linked to the wobbly brain cage that keeps my white and grey jelly safe. And if this goes wrong, anything goes wrong with my physical health, it's going to affect my mental health. Okay? The same with my mental health. If my mental health is poor, it's going to have a knock-on effect with my physical health. It's going to stop me sleeping. It's going to make me feel grotty. I'm not going to want to eat. Probably not going to want to get up or go out or do anything. And it's going to make me feel worried and all sorts. So this all relates to our physical health. You know, with a lot of difficulties with mental health, we'll find the physical symptoms with it, because, like I say, this is all one old unit. Mental health affects your ability to cope with stress. It helps how we relate to others, and how we make our decisions. It's a crucial aspect of our overall health. Mental health, when it isn't quite right, encompasses a whole wide range of conditions, from low mood and depression to anxiety to schizophrenia and bipolar at the more extreme end. Having good mental health means that you can effectively manage and regulate your emotions. It helps us in having good and fulfilling relationships. And it will also help us to adapt to any changes that happen in our life. Mental health is not a static thing. Mental health fluctuates and changes frequently. In the same way that, like, you know, when our glorious bodies go wrong, it affects things that we can do. So if we've got gutsache, for example, we ain't going to go out, because who wants to risk assess whether we can fart or not? Nobody wants to see a fart dribbling down somebody's leg. If we've got a headache, conversely, we won't go out. We probably hunker down, take a couple of painkillers, job's good, and we're out for a couple of days. All right, we wouldn't think twice if we hurt ourselves, if we sprained something, if we pulled a muscle, if we got gutsache, us running for a couple of days. We won't think twice about going to the doctors to talk about it. But you have a point where you can't get out of bed, where you're really, really struggling to sleep, where you can't go out because actually you're just too fearful, too worried about going out. And for some reason, we really struggle with this. And particularly as men, it seems that we struggle more than most. And this is sort of evidenced as well. There's a lot of scientific evidence to say that men are really, really bad with medical issues, whether that's physical or mental health. I think we're a bit better. We're a bit better at understanding our mental health. We're a bit better at recognising it, but we're still rubbish at seeking help for it. And what we need to do is talk to the young fellas now, and explain to them, actually, you need to look after your mental health, because looking after your mental health is part of looking after you, which is part of looking after your family, your friends, all this sort of stuff, about having a good life and having a good time. And the sooner that we get that help, when it starts to change, the better the outcome is going to be. So what affects our mental health? What makes it good or bad? And this is the really complex bit. And this is different for every single person out there, because we are all different people. We've all had different experiences, and we're all going through different things. So, for example, our time of life can affect our mood, all right, and our emotional presentation. For example, a toddler, right? Don't know what they want, no, they want it now. And awful, just awful. You know, they're called terrible twos for a really, really good reason. Move into our teenage years, and we have the physical changes and developments of being late adolescent. Yay, if I could do my life again, well, I wouldn't mind another go, but please cut out that bloody adolescent bit, it was awful. Anyway, digress. And then we move on to a bit later on, a midlife crisis, probably like I'm having now. I don't know. I've had my motorbike, maybe I'm a bit late off the mark. Maybe I'm not going to live as long as I thought I was going to. Who knows? Anyhow, these are the normal parts that affect everybody and everybody's mental health and emotional well-being. Well, certainly as a bloke. But there are also other things, okay? So the things that are different from person to person. So how we were brought up. Were we brought up in a loving family? Did our families split up? Were we removed from our families? Were we loved and cherished and nurtured? Or were we abused physically, mentally, sexually? Were we left out? Were we scapegoated, for example? Were we bullied at school? Did we do well at school? Did we do bad at school? What was the expectation? Once we've left school, you know, as we move on, and certainly into adulthood, we now look at relationships with our families. Are they good? Are they bad? Do we have a relationship with someone we love, a man we love, a woman we love? Do we get on well with our kids? Do we not get on with our kids? Can we have kids? There's loss, there's grief, there's so many different things, and on top of that we then stick in our work. Do we get on with our workmates? Are we getting paid enough? Is our job stressful? There are so many variables, and we can't say for certain there's just one thing. We're lacking serotonin, as the medical model would have us believe. We know that it's more than that. We know that it's all these bits exerting pressure on us that affect our mental health. So a lot of the time when our mental health changes, we don't always need to have treatment for it. But we do need to acknowledge it. And I think as men, this is where we're really bad. And there's so much research out there, not just like how we're not particularly good at acknowledging our own mental health, but our health in general. We tend to go, no, we're all right, to the point where actually we're really not all right. And had we sought help at the beginning, things would be a lot better. Anyway, that is a peculiarly man thing. And in the same way that if you start to feel ill, you get a bit of a fever and you go to the doctor and they give you antibiotics, the earlier you get to that infection, the quicker it's going to clear up. Okay? The earlier we notice that our mood is changing, the quicker we speak to somebody about it, the quicker we're going to start feeling better. It may be you just need to get something off your chest. Something's bothering you. And just sitting down and chatting with a workmate and getting it out of your head and just bouncing it off them and could sometimes really, really make a difference. Maybe just saying to one of your friends, I'm really worried about going out. You know, I'm not too sure about it. It's going to be really busy. And they'll help, you know, maybe they'll help you. Maybe they'll come along and say, do you know what, I'm going to be with you anyway. We're going to go together. We'll stick together. We'll be all right. That can be enough to head off anything serious. It's when it starts really impacting. To those days where you're like, do you know what, I can't get out. I just can't get out of bed. Or you find yourself crying a lot, or you're no longer enjoying the stuff that you used to enjoy. These things are indicators that you need to talk to somebody. Okay, and I would probably talk to your GP, because your GP surgery, the staff in there are your friends at this point. All right, and they are generally. They may be able to refer you on to someone where a bit of talking therapy is going to help you sort things out. They may actually have like a nurse or a doctor who's a specialist, actually within the surgery itself, and you can get your concerns out, talk about the stuff, and help it to make sense again. And the sooner we do it, the better. That is your first port of call, realistically. Your friends and your family, your first port of call. If it's starting to get worse, you need to talk to your GP. You need to talk to your, maybe even a mental health specialist who can do a proper assessment and find out what's going on. But the sooner we get in there, the sooner we get it sorted. So what can we do to load things in our favour to help maintain good mental health? Well, there's a few things, and some probably people aren't going to like. First and foremost, for those of us who are over 18 years old, drugs and alcohol. Alcohol is one of those things that is pervasive in pretty much every part of our lives. If something good happens, we go and get drunk. If something bad happens, we get drunk. If we go and watch something, well, we'll have a drink while we're doing it. If someone has a baby, we go and wet the baby's head, we get drunk. If someone dies, we have a wake, we go and get drunk. So it's infiltrated every single part of our life, but it is exceptionally damaging. And it's really quite addictive as well. Whilst it makes us feel good in the short term, it's also a depressant, and it will drop you like a rock after a short time. How many times have you phoned an ex going, "Oh, I love you," because you're under the influence, because you've had a few too many? Okay, and in the same vein, drugs. Yeah, they're never an answer to anything. They cause more problems than worth, and more to the point, really, at the minute, is they're putting you in touch with people who don't give two hoots about you, and that you need to keep away from, and will make your life so much worse. That's before you even think about the effects of the substance itself. Another thing that can make a big difference is our diet. The more fresh food we can eat, the better we're going to feel. It's as we said earlier, it's keeping the complex squishy bit below our head really healthy and working well. So stuff like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, they're sort of coming down in price in a lot of the major supermarkets because the cost of living is really hitting everybody. But if we can keep on top of them, it's going to make a big difference. And staying hydrated. So one of the things that's guaranteed to affect your mood quite grossly is constipation. And we can get constipated by not eating enough fibre and not drinking enough. So if we're staying hydrated and we're eating a good diet, we reduce our risk of developing a physical health problem that's going to knock on and affect our mental state. Now, if I go onto the NHS website, they have 5 ways to well-being. Okay, and I'm going to read it from a screen. So number 1 is connecting with other people. So good relationships, as we know, and connections are good for our mental well-being. So it makes us feel like we belong. We've got people who make us feel good about ourselves. And we can share our experiences, normally with like-minded people. And we do get a degree of emotional support. What I would say, though, is connecting with people doesn't necessarily mean social media. Social media is a whole story in itself, both good and bad. So the next part is being physically active. Okay, being physically active helps to raise our self-esteem, helps us to feel good about ourselves, releases endorphins, which make you feel more positive about yourself and everything that's going on around you. This doesn't mean, though, that you have to go out and cane it at the gym. It just means getting out and about, even having a walk. A 30-minute walk is going to make a really big difference. So the next one is learning a new skill. And this doesn't mean having to do an entire course, sit a degree, work for your PhD or anything like that. This is just learning something new. And we can easily do that. We've got the world at our fingertips on the internet. And there is always something that we can learn, some new skill we can learn, something that's fun to do. And it can boost your self-confidence, raise your self-esteem. It can even help in meeting people. And it gives you a sense of purpose, okay? It does say here, actually, on the internet, it says, do not feel you have to learn new qualifications or sit exams if this does not interest you. Sitting exams, oh my word, yeah. No, there's a flashback. to a time that, that was really stressful. Anyway, next we look about giving to others, and that helps us to make us feel good about ourselves. Okay, and it gives you a feeling of purpose, feeling of self-worth, and it helps you to connect with other people. So it can be as simple as saying something nice to somebody, saying thank you to somebody for something they've done, asking friends how they're doing, and family, how you doing, and actually just really listening to that answer. So giving them your time, your attention, spending time with people. If you know someone who's struggling with DIY or struggling a bit in the house, maybe you've got a neighbour who's struggling to cut their lawn and you've got a lawnmower, just giving a bit of time, bit of something back to other people. Even volunteering if you can. It's a bit of time in a charity shop, maybe, anything like that. Just giving something to somebody else without wanting anything in return makes you feel brilliant. And finally, paying attention to the present moment, or mindfulness. It means being aware of your thoughts and feelings and stuff like that is happening right here, right now. It's things like being outside. It's like being a kid. This is the way I sort of see it. It's like being a kid and you found that ant's nest in the back garden or out in the park, and you give it a bit of a prod. And you lose about half an hour just watching the ants coming up the stick and onto your hand and watching them going over. And all you are is you're there in the moment. You're watching the ants. You're feeling the sun on your back, the wind blowing through your hair. Stuff like that. Those little bits that take you away. So you're not thinking about, I've got a bill to pay. You're just there. You're just taking notice of everything around you. The thoughts will try and creep in. But it's a case of trying to practice, just saying, okay, no, I'm going to think about you later. I just want to sit here, maybe listen to the wind blowing through the trees. Sit there, feel the cold of the bench that you're sitting on outside, or just sitting in your front room and feeling how nice and cosy you feel sitting on your sofa. Just taking time to be in that moment. And that will make a big difference to your day. It gives you a bit of brain space, gives you a bit of thinking space. So as well as what we just mentioned before, there's plenty of help that you can find online as well. So there are things like Mind. If you look on Mind's website, Rethink, there is Papyrus. There are even local groups. So local to me, we have something called the 856 Foundation, and they offer support for blokes and do things like fishing trips and stuff like that. Okay, looking to support men in the local area. We also have men's sheds, and you'll find if you do a little search, there will be stuff on there. But it's about getting out there for the most part to meet people. Mine, for example, will have places where you can meet up. You may even find that there is a local cafe that will actually have a period of time where you can just sit down and there'll be people on hand that you can talk to, and it will be about addressing mental health and stuff like that. There is support out there. I'll put a link below of some of the national ones that I know of, and if anybody knows of anything else, please do put it in the comment and share. The more we know, more we can help each other out, the better life is going to be all round. Thank you very much for listening. I hope to build a little bit further on this in the future. If you like it, let me know. If there's anything you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much.